Open Procreate, let's get to the grind. Brush engine power, gonna blow your mind. White on black, that's the way it works. Get in and play around, don't be a jerk. The brush engine only works with white on black. Get in and play around, the rest of stuff will be whack. You can use any image that's black and white. Just play with the settings up, make it alright. If the vision doesn't work, then do it again. In the worst case scenario, just make it again. Don't be afraid of the textures, make your own in real life. Never forget, using hard against soft will make your life alright. Experiment, innovate, let your style shine. Procreate your playground, design after design. Adjust the settings, find your groove. Art is a journey, find your move. The brush engine only works with white or black. Get in and play around, or else the stuff will be whack. You can use any image that's black and white. Just play with the settings up, make it alright. If the vision doesn't work, then do it again. In the worst case scenario, just make it again. Don't be afraid of the textures, make your own in real life. Never forget, using hard against soft will make your life alright. Experiment, innovate, let your style shine. Procreate your playground, design after design. Adjust the settings, find your groove. Art is a journey, find your move. The brush engine only works with white or black. Get in and play around, or else the stuff will be whack. You can use any image that's black and white. Just play with the settings up, make it alright. If the vision doesn't work, then do it again. In the worst case scenario, just make it again. Don't be afraid of the textures, make your own in real life. Never forget, using hard against soft will make your life alright. Dive into the process, don't hesitate. Create with passion, don't wait. Your canvas, your vision, your art. Take the credit, it's your part. If the vision doesn't work, then do it again. In the worst case scenario, just make it again. Don't be afraid of the textures, make your own in real life. Never forget, using hard against soft will make your life alright. Push your power, make it your own. In Procreate world, you grow. Take the credit for whatever you create in the
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up here and we're gonna hit plus, and we're gonna say test set, or I like calling it personal. I already have one personal, so we'll just call this test for me. And then we're gonna hit the plus, and this is really the first brush that you want, right? You might want to turn the stabilization up a little bit, and the streamline just a little. Keep it a little bit smoother, but that's one of the first brushes you're gonna want. The second, and actually, I would come in here and say about this brush, boom, liners by Quiche Mickey Kysch. Yeah, liner. Boom. Cool. So done. So that's going to get copied to every one that you do. So now as you make your brushes, it'll go into each one. You're going to want to change the name. So I'm going to say duplicate this one. We're going to make this one. I think this is super vital. Turn up the spacing, right? You have a dotted line now. And then do this. This is going to be dots. Whatever. Dots. The next brush that we're going to want after this is just a real tight liner, right? So let's get in here and explore some. So we're going to cancel this. We're going to duplicate. We're going to call this the snappy liner. Done. We're going to come up here. We're not going to worry about the materials right now. We do want maximum size. We want this thing to be able to get big, right? And we want the minimum size to be tiny. We want the pressure to affect the size. Yeah, there we go. And I think that's it, dude. I think that's really all we want. Dynamics. Yeah, I'm not really worried about the speed dynamics. The taper. Let's change the taper a bit, and you can see how it kind of like tapers these ends in. And that's really just what I want right there, right? Is I just want it to get tight at the ends. So we're going to call this snappy. Open layers, add a layer. And that's just like a nice tight little liner that comes to a nice point. Now, let's say you don't want it to come to a point. Let's say you want real square edges or real round edges. So let's duplicate this one, and we're going to come back over here to see where we're messing around at. So right here, now everything has a nice hard edge, right? Another thing we can do with this snappy one, right, is we can come over here to the shape, and we can, let's see, we don't want to do the jitter. We can squish this shape together so that it's like live, right? Sometimes it makes a wide mark and sometimes it makes a skinny mark no matter how much you push. And I would kind of turn it like this. And then if we take off, where's that other stuff we put on here? Maximum, minimum, taper. Pressure. Let's go. Boom. Now we have a lot more of a, oh man, what did we do? Let's see. Let's undo that. Oh yeah, here we go. We got it. So now we have much more of a calligraphy style brush, right? And if we were to say that we want, what if we, okay, so cancel, I want to duplicate this. And now what I want is I want to make this calligraphy pen because I'm going on it now. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the taper. We don't want the taper. And we don't want any size changes, right? We just want it to be real sharp like that. And then let's go back up here to the shape. And we're going to make sure we've made that like as tight as possible, right? So now, boom, boom, boom. Now, I wonder if we can get this stroke path, spacing, no spacing. There we go. Yeah. So if we want to write in calligraphy or say, now, let's see what happens if we make this huge. And we say, boom. So now we have a calligraphy pen, right? And you can play with it to get it softer at the edges. And what I would do is if we want it softer at the edges, then let's just do this. Let's say we're going to make this layer black because it needs to, no, we don't want that. We want to turn off the reference. And we want to get into this layer and we want to make this layer black. And we are going to do a rectangle. And we're going to fill this rectangle in white. Boom, boom, boom. It's in here somewhere. There we go. And now we're going to change this. So it's at a 45-degree angle. Because we're here, we are going to We're just going to use a black brush, and we'll, yeah, here we go. Bam! Nobody will ever know. Cool. So we're going to then share this JPEG and save the image. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come back into this brush, and we're going to get into the shape, and we're going to edit the shape, import a photo, this last photo that we made. Boom. Done. So now we hit done, and we don't have those weird soft sides anymore. It's super done. It's not very opaque. So I wonder if I can duplicate. Wonder why it's not very. I bet this white isn't very white. Let's go. It says it's very white. It says the whitest. And you use this to then make a calligraphy pen. So let's go to Apple Pencil. We want the opacity all the way up. We want basically everything that says opacity up. Dynamics. Boom. Color dynamics. There we go. We got to reset this back to this now that we've changed this shape. Okay, so that's what I had messed up. So now we hit done, and we are going to go delete this layer, choose a black pen now, and we have our calligraphy brush, right? So boom. Cool. So that's kind of how the brush engine works. You do need to play with it a little bit. I would recommend, a liner brush. Let's get one of these. Let's duplicate this and make ourselves an airbrush. So we're going to say we want everything to have some kind of like taper to it. We want it to be very soft. Scatter. Oh, we're going to actually change the shape. So we're going to import from the source library. Now you can go through here and you can make these whatever you want. So we're going to do that in just a second. So we just select the soft. Done. Done. And then there's our soft airbrush, right? So it works on pressure. This one doesn't get that big. We can make it so it can get bigger. So let's try to do that and go to, is that properties maximum size? Yeah, we want it to be able to get as big as it wants. Cool. So yeah, there we go. So that's a vital brush. Now let's go. We're going to go to the snappy one. Actually, let's go to the soft one, and we're going to actually cancel, duplicate this brush. And in here, we are going to edit the shape. Make the shape whatever you want as long as it's white on black. So we're going to go to the source library and explore in here. So they have ink splats, they have crystal shapes, they have orbs, they have short hair. Oh man, I'll show you guys that one in a little bit. They have all this stuff, and this is just pictures of stuff that you make. So here at the end of the video, I'll do a little bit of a demo where you can take something from real life, right? You can take coffee grounds on a piece of paper, or you can take dirt. I'll use dirt and make a little random shape like this that's white on black, invert it so it's actually, it'll be black on white. We're going to invert it so it's white on black, and then we have a shape to use for the tip of one of our brushes. So for right now, let's just go to ink sponge, right? So this is going to be our tip shape. And now when we make this, you can see how it's like randomized, right? It's like it gives us a live edge, and we don't want any spacing in there. And we do want it to get lighter and darker, right? We want it to have like opacity jitter based on how hard we're pushing. So stroke path, stabilization, taper. We don't really want it to taper, but a little bit of taper lets it have like some size to it. Lets it have some life to the edges is what I meant. And then let's actually give this a little grain. So what we can do here is we can also edit the grain texture, and we can import a photo, of course, or from our source library, we can say, cool, this is the kind of like grain we want this brush to have. Now let's say we want this brush to have, this will work. Boom. So now when I paint, it looks like there's a canvas behind it, right? So then we say we want, maybe we can change with how we want the glaze to be. So it's like, boom, it shows more of that texture. So what I'll use this for is like in my later layers of a painting, right? So we'll take this texture and we'll say, let's say done. We're going to open these other layers up, and we're going to have a layer behind here that is like black. Let's not do black. Let's do blues the ocean or some shit. Boom. So now in a new layer, I can just select, here we go, this orange, right? With this textured brush, it's not getting big enough. Let me make it bigger. We're going to come in here to the settings, properties, minimum size, maximum size. What's up with this? Dynamics, size. So you can change the size of the texture in the background, and you can change how round this is. And what all these settings are going to do is just give you a little bit more live of an edge, right? So when you set these brushes up, that brush that you make is your stroke. You're making those choices. That's your stroke. Every painting you make with those brushes is your painting. Because it's just, that's what it's made for. So I know I keep scrolling one of these up. Rendering, dynamics, speed, size, opacity, Apple Pencil, flow, bleed. No, I don't want that. I want size. Properties, medium size. I'm wondering if it's maximum size because of the brush tip shape, like if that's as tall as it was made. So let's actually do this. Let's skip that. Let's go with this done the airbrush. Yeah, the airbrush can get as big as we want. So we already know that's working how we want. So we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to put this texture on it, grain. They call it grain in here. So texturized grain. We're going to edit, import, source library, go to this charcoal. Should be up here in Canvas, right? Canvas one. That's too much canvas. So here's another canvas. So I like this one. So boom, done. And now, if we turn the opacity down on this and we leave the size kind of up, we can make it look like we've done a lot more work on a canvas than we've actually done, right? So you can make this glow. And the way the texture is going to work is the texture is going to work over the whole scene. So we like all these brushes. I would make one or a few. I would definitely recommend you guys to play with a few of them that are these messy shapes, and you can get these from photos. You can make them yourself. That's the most fun part I'm gonna show you, because you can really make them from anything. So let's say we want to take this acrylic dab number 5, and we want to edit. A acrylic dab, rough acrylic dab 5. So we're gonna say done. You always have to say done to commit it. And then we're gonna say we want to scatter it some, and we want to play with the rotation, and we want the count to change, and we want there to be a jitter to the count. And this is gonna give us a real natural looking shape to the edges, right? There's like all these little spots somewhere. We do want to randomize it a couple of different ways, so that'll keep it from these same little splots looking the same everywhere. We're gonna give it a little bit of grain, and we're gonna edit that too. You don't have to do this part. I like to do this part just because I'm showing you guys source library. But in this way, you're gonna make, a million different brushes for yourself. So I just want to give you the tools to play with this. So that you can make it happen. Now, the one thing about these textures is the textures are gonna be, over the whole page, so they don't move. Let's actually do source library. You can do orange peel, wet paper, and you can take pictures of anything and turn it into one of these textures. Acrylic grit. Boom, cool. Done. So yeah, there we go. Cool. So that's kind of cool. Let's see, rendering. How do we want the blend? We can change the blend. And the trick here is not choosing one. It's playing with all of them to see if it gives you what you like. And then you can save one. You can move on to the next step. You can say how much you want the flow to overlap, how intense you want the blending. I like this light glaze and intense glaze. You can change how wet you want the mix, how these angles are. If you're playing with different colors, I don't really mess around in here that much. But we can get into the Apple Pencil properties. Obviously, we dealt with that in a different brush. And then we can say, how big is able to get. We want, oddly enough, some of these only go to 100% and some of them go to 1500%, right? So I'm not sure exactly what the control there is, but if you want a brush now where you can say, cool, we're going to use a little bit more muted and darker color, and we're going to come over the top of this. We don't want that. We want over the top of this, right? And we want this to feel more alive, more varied, right? Now we can come back and have our hard edge and then still have a very organic look to where these things blend in at, right? So then, and that depends on where you want those. So let's go a little bit darker with it. So let's go black and a new layer. And we're just going to turn the opacity of the layer down, right? So same deal, right? If we want to say, I think this is where the most shadows are going to be, is like right up here as it turns into the dark spot. Using a brush that has texture is going to give you a lot better, more natural looking blend, right? And so same thing. You can just, if you want, you can just go outside of the line and kind of let that build up and then clear it all off. Boom. There you go. So short demo on soft and hard brush, and short demo on how to make some brushes, including your own texture brushes. And then I also wanted to show you, let me see what I have in my photos. Okay, so let's get back into this, and I have come through here and I've just put these couple of photos in here. So let's go ahead and download these. And as you can see, it is dirt on an envelope. There's nothing special here. We'll just do 2 of them because that's all we really need. Not now. Download. Download. Boom. Now, same deal, right? We're going to come in here to our photos. Let's go ahead and hide all this stuff. And right here on top, we're going to insert a file, insert a photo, and let's just take this one for now, okay? And so what I'm going to do is blow it up, kind of position it how I might want it on the screen. Let's actually do it kind of like this, right? Weird like parallelogram kind of deal. I kind of like this. Let's do it like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to play with the saturation, take the saturation down. Then we're going to play with the curves. And we're going to make everything that's white, white, and everything that's black, black, right? And we're going to just be really harsh about that. And the more we turn it up, the more we get this like action and noise in the middle, right? So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and paint with our regular brush. We don't want to mess around here. We just want to paint white, and that's what we want, right? But we like these little tiny shapes that are missing here. And so now we're going to take our layer. I think it's telling me that I haven't painted to the edges here in this layer. So let's make sure we do that. And then we're gonna, click it, invert it, right? And now we invert our paint too. We want this black paint now. And just make sure, we don't want anything weird at the corners or on the edges because that's gonna show up as a straight line in our piece later. And now we just share this as a JPEG or a PNG, whatever you want. Save the image. And down here, now we're going to turn this layer off, and we're already painting with black, right? So we're going to take this brush. Actually, let's take this brush. Let's take this brush and duplicate it. and make this, we're going to call this Dirt 1. Done. And we're going to come up here into the shape, edit the shape, import a shape, import a photo. This is the last photo we saved. Done. So now this is going to be our brush tip shape, right? So as we paint with this is our shape. And you can't really see it probably in the camera or on the screen right now, but it looks almost like a centipede, right? It has the same part that sticks out at the same place all the time. Now, if we play with this scatter a little bit, it'll kind of make it a little bit rougher for us. And that will be, the angle that shape is at will not repeat as much, right? So we can change how that is. We can randomize it. We can also make this, change the opacity up. I'm going to actually change the scatter. We want the scatter, but we want it to work a little bit differently. We want to do the dynamic size jitter properties. Maximum size, we want it to be able to get big. And we want there to be some size and opacity jitter. And then we're not going to be worried about the grain here. And let's go ahead, and we're going to just turn this up. So that as we paint, right, this is going to give us a real, again, a real natural, hey, what are we doing? A real natural looking transition if you're trying to transition in anything. So again, on this fish, or even better yet, to show you guys even more simply, on this circle here, we got rid of the circle there. Let's get rid of this, delete. Let's just take this circle. And if we go above it and we have this navy color in this, or actually, let's do it this way. Let's turn the opacity down and bring it through here like it might be an actual shadow, right? And then you have this really hard edge eraser that's going to keep everything really hard edged. But that's only because I'm showing you and I'm being retarded right now. So if I was not being retarded, then what I would do is actually make a new layer, and where you can paint like this, right? And then you can actually turn this into a clipping mask, and it will just only paint where this other one is, right? So if you want to have like your shading in something be real natural looking, really organic, and you want it to still have hard edges, that's a great way to go. So this is how you make the brushes, right? You open the brushes, hit the plus, name the brush, title it so you get credit. You want to go through the properties, and you want to tell it how you want it to behave. You want to change the maximum size. You want to make sure the spacing is right. Oh, if you have none on spacing, then it can only get so big. Okay, so that's maybe a trick, is having it done on none on spacing. And stabilization, this is how it's going to act, right? If you want it real live, you don't want any stabilization. If you want it real smooth, you can do a lot of lines with this stuff. Maybe you want to turn up some of the stabilization. But again, when you're working, you can just come in and change it live as you're working on it, right? Or you can save a different one. Do you want it tapered? Do you want to change the sizes, right? So one other thing that I want to show you guys, since we're here and since we're dealing with the brush engine, is that the brush engine can take anything and turn it into a brush, right? So let's go ahead. we're going to cancel this. We're going to say we want to get out of this. And we want to work in a new layer. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a brush. And this is going to be a stamp. We do want to orient that screen. We want the maximum size to be as big as we want. And for shape, what we're going to do here is we're going to import a shape. And we're going to import, I made all these roses in AI. This is available in a different video. And once you invert them, right? So this looked one way, I inverted it, and now it looks another way. You can bring that inverted file in here. You want to, and now when you paint, it's going to have all of that information, right? So if you want to import a bald eagle, right? And you import it, and this is black and white, how it should look in real life. But you work with that in here, it's going to make a negative image for you, right? So what you have to do is you have to pick the one that's already been inverted. And now it's going to work based on what color I have selected. So if I select brown, then that's already there. So if you have photos you like or animals you like or stuff that you use all the time, you can use those as, you can turn those into brushes and then use those brushes. You just dip them out while you're drawing, right? You just put out a couple and you're good to go. Another really great thing that this is good for, and I'm going to show you all with this brush because I've got a bunch of these made on my own, is let's go to edit, import a photo. And I already made some of these. So if you see here, I have this green mountainside and I already inverted it and put it in here. So you click done and we're done, obviously. And let's say you're painting something and you do a unicorn and you need a mountain background. There's your mountain background. Or let's say we want it green and we want that green to be muted and we want it to be more, boom. So now we have backgrounds that we can use all the time. So if you go on a hike with your partner, or if you have a place that you like to go with your kids and you take a photo of that, you can turn that into a brush that you can use over and over again. This can be a repeated scene in whatever motifs you use, and you can reuse these things that are from your life, and you're using the tools to repeat them. And it helps bring your story kind of into their story. So if we were doing this with a rose, or when I did this with the roses, what I did is I opened up the rose file, traced over it, inverted both of them, put a black layer behind the lines, and then brought them in. And then now I have this whole set of roses where if we turn this off, actually let's just get rid of it, I can say at any point, hey, I need a rose, so we're going to do this one, and this is the lines for a rose that I've titled Glowing Beauty. This is how I made the lines. I was in a rush to put this together for you guys, and I didn't connect every single line, which is
Trace it with the bright color, make it pop. Shadow shape for dotted lines, don't stop. Invert the image layer, black layer on top, so the lines don't stop. Alpha lock the lines, paint them all white. Save the two images, sources in sight. Brush engine magic, adjust the settings, fine, creating art one step at a time. Trace it with the bright color, make it pop. Shadow shapes with dotted lines, don't stop. Invert the image layer, black layer on top, so the lines don't stop. Art is a process, gotta take it slow. Each little step, let your skill show. From photo to masterpiece, follow the plan. But if you know your tools, then you can have a plan. Trace it with the bright color, make it pop. Shadow shapes with dotted lines, don't stop. Invert the image layer, black layer on top, so the lines don't stop.